Number 10. Buried alive. A 49-year-old woman was wrongly declared deceased by Russian doctors in June of 2012. Upon her awakening, she began screaming, realizing they were about to bury her. She was rushed back to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead yet again due to a second heart attack. The woman's husband was infuriated and is in the process of suing the hospital for multiple reasons relating to his wife's death and their accidental involvement. Number 9. Suicide by piranhas. An 18-year-old Bolivian teen picked up a rather unusual and gruesome way to end his life. While under the influence of alcohol and quite possibly other narcotics, he jumped out of his canoe into a stretch of water infested with hungry piranhas. He soon bled out, dying as a result of numerous bites. After an investigation was conducted, police ruled the incident a suicide because it was made clear that the young man was a well-experienced fisherman and knew what was lurking under the water. Number 8. Spontaneous combustion. Danny Van Sant was a 65-year-old man who was found completely burned to death on February of 2013 inside his home. He died in such a manner that suggests he may have spontaneously combusted. You could pour gasoline on somebody and he wouldn't be so badly incinerated, said a witness. Van Sant both drank alcohol and smoked cigarettes, but investigators and medical examiners quickly ruled out those two factors. The floor below his corpse wasn't even touched by the flames, and there was no sign of an accelerant. After performing an autopsy, the local coroner was baffled. The case remains unsolved as to what caused his death, other than the obvious: fire. Number 7. Soup injections. Hilda Vidor Maciel of Rio de Janeiro died in September of 2012 at the age of 88. A nurse technician accidentally injected soup into the woman's right arm by means of an IV instead of the feeding tube. Maciel's daughter was with her in the room when the injection occurred. She remembers her mother starting to squirm uncomfortably and stick out her tongue as soon as the substance was injected. Maciel died a mere 12 hours later. The director of the hospital admitted to the mistake, but does not believe it is in any way related to the patient's death. The Medio Legal Institute is still investigating the cause of death. Number 6. A tragic wedding. A bride fell to her death in August of 2012 in the Huerou River north of Montreal, Canada. She was standing in no more than a foot, 30 centimeters of water while a photographer was taking her picture. A witness said that the woman's dress became extremely heavy from soaking up water, and she asked for help getting out of the river. After the photographer and his assistant were unable to get her out, she was swept away and pulled underwater by the harsh current. Police found her body 4 hours later. It's still unclear whether she died as a result of drowning or the fall downstream bruising much of her body. Number 5. Death before death. David Pendleton was a 77-year-old man who was shot to death by police officers while standing at the site of his own grave in Nevada. It is believed that he was visiting his recently deceased wife when he called the authorities to report a crime in the area. Minutes later, police arrived to find Pendleton in a crazed state. He was also holding a loaded shotgun. Police officers were unable to get him to turn over the weapon. In a last resort effort to save their lives, Pendleton was shot to death. It turns out that the man was standing next to his very own tombstone, which had been placed without any official documentation. Number 4. Snakebite Pastor. A 44-year-old pastor from West Virginia named Mark Wolford was bitten on the thigh by a rattlesnake during an outdoor church service in mid-2012. After the incident, he was taken to a relative's home to recover, but was later rushed to the hospital. Just moments later, he was declared dead. Wolford believed that the Bible requires Christians to handle poisonous serpents to test their belief in God. Believe it or not, this is a somewhat common practice among some religions, but it is not advised or endorsed by the Catholic Church or any of its break-off branches. Number 3. Bad timing. A man named William Martinez died in March 2009 while having sexual intercourse. In June of 2012, a jury granted Martinez's family $3 million in damages because his cardiologist failed to inform him that overexerting himself was definitely a bad idea due to his state of health. Doctors believe the death was caused by heart problems that had developed over time in his chest. The family had previously sought $5 million, but it was determined that he was at least 40% responsible for his own death. Number 2. Mowing the lawn. A man in his mid-40s bled to death while mowing his lawn in southern Sweden. From what investigators could make out of the scene, the man had been mowing his lawn when his mower went up a rather steep incline. The man had apparently fallen with the machine and ended up under the blade and was savagely cut to death by his mower. When it comes to weird, this is sure up there on the list. Most lawnmowers are equipped with safety mechanisms that shuts the mower off as soon as the driver's weight is shifted off of the seat. Number 1. A $5,000 bet. Much like number 3 on our list, another man died during sexual intercourse, but his case was rather unique. In 2009, 2 women bet a Russian man nearly $5,000 that he wouldn't possibly be able to satisfy them for 12 hours straight. In order to meet their expectations, the man swallowed an entire bottle of Viagra, but died of a heart attack just a few minutes after winning the 12-hour bet. The same happened to a Nigerian dictator, Sani Abacha, who died at his residence of indigestion after consuming large quantities of Viagra. Like these top 10 videos? Subscribe by clicking the annotation here and give our video a like. Have an idea for a future top 10? Leave a comment in the section below.